Oh, baby! Woo! That was a nice Corvette. Damn. Damn! Alright. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lovely, sunny morning here in Colorado. So I thought I'd do a little vlog this morning, even though it's really early and I'm freezing, because I should have put my liner in, but I didn't, so I'm cold. Anyways, so, morning, sir. This morning I thought I would talk a little bit about something. I've gotten questions kind of about this, but I've also personally wanted to talk about it. So this topic's kind of, or this one's kind of about, is a 650cc motorcycle like my own a good starter bike? And of course, if you know me, you know that this is my first bike, and it's a 650cc. So for me, my opinion, the short answer is yes, it is a good bike, a good starter bike. So going into it a little bit, first of all, you have to kind of understand the differences with a 650cc bike, say from like a inline 4, like a 600cc, like an R6 or, you know, a GSX-R 600. So the main difference is that a 650 is a twin cylinder, 2 cylinders, instead of an inline 4 like an R6 is, 600 cylinder. And what that does is that the twin cylinder is a lot more torquey than an inline 4 is. And also the power band on a 650cc bike is much smoother than on a 600. And my shield is fogging up, this sucks. So what that means is that with power band, what I mean is that 600cc bikes are kind of a little bit different, because when you're going throughout the RPMs, of course, you know, inline 4s, those go up to like 15,000 RPMs or whatever. But as you're going up through those, the power band is not steady, which means, you know, giving the same amount of throttle, you are not getting the same amount of acceleration throughout the entire RPM range. Because those bikes, the power really kicks in on inline 4s towards 8,000–9,000 RPMs. And that's why those bikes, they're designed to be high in the RPMs. They're designed for racing. Now, a 650cc V-twin, or well, V-twin, mine's a V-twin, but some bikes aren't. Bikes like a Ninja 650 are parallel twins. But anyways, those bikes have a steady power band, which means kind of throughout the whole RPM range, you're getting pretty much the same amount of power. But what that does for you is, first of all, it makes it a lot easier to ride, because you're accelerating the same amount through the whole way, or through the whole gear. So that's what it does for you. I mean, there's a few other things about 650cc's. I mean, they're a little bit more upright position usually in terms of sitting, so you're not like, you know, making love to your gas tank all the time. So it's easier to ride in the city. And also, you know, along with that steady power band, it makes it easier to ride in the city as well. So those are kind of some of the differences between a 650cc bike and a 600cc bike. Now, personally, I mean, I don't have any experience with an inline 4 like a 600cc bike, but personally, I would say that they're not a good starter bike. However, I say that a 650cc bike is. And of course, you know, that sounds kind of weird because, oh my God, this sucks. That sounds weird because, oh, what's going on? That sounds weird because the 650cc bike is a bigger motor than the 600. But like I said, with those differences in you know, cylinders and torque and all that stuff. Okay. And this guy's turning to, man, this is a mess. Okay. I don't even know where it was. So yeah, the differences between them just make a 650cc bike a lot easier to learn on because of that steady power band and easier sitting position, and you know, it's not designed for racing, it's just a motorcycle. And of course this bike is plenty sporty. I mean, I have it almost every weekend up in the canyons, you know, doing twisties and stuff, but you know, it's not a super sport. So, getting into why I think it'll be a good bike, like I said, easier to ride and stuff like that than say a 600. You could do something like a 250. Of course, 250s, you're not going to have as much power. They're harder to deal with at highway speeds. I'm not saying they can't go on the highway, but if you're on the highway and you have to gun it, you know, to get around somebody or get out of a dangerous situation, you don't have that power. That's part of the problem. But, I mean, the biggest thing I like about 250s, of course, I learned on a 250. The best thing I think about them is that they're so freaking light, and they're really easy to deal with. They're pretty agile. You know, they're easy to keep upright. I guess if you do drop it, they're easy to pick up. But, so that's kind of what I think on a 250. But anyways, with a 650cc bike, they're a good bike to learn on. Like I said, this is my first bike. Only thing is, it is still a 650cc bike. It's still a pretty big bike, and it still has a lot of power. And it still will go. It will, if you twist the throttle of the bike, it's fast. And so, at least definitely, you know, when you're starting out on it, you have to be able to kind of control yourself a little bit, because you don't want to just pull back on the throttle when you're brand new, or you might have some problems, because the bike's still going to go. But like I said, you know, since it has that even power band, it's great in lower RPMs compared to a 650cc bike, stuff like that. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys an idea of what I think about 650cc bike being a good starter one. I of course started out on mine, and I would recommend, or if I was going to do it all over again, I'd be plenty happy getting a 650cc to start out again. I would also recommend a 250. Like I said, they're, you know, nice and light and a little bit less power, so they're kind of easier to manage at first. The biggest reason I chose not to get a 250cc bike is, of course, they're a good bike to start out on, but it's kind of like a bike that you can grow out of very quickly. Now, some people they can get a 250cc bike and they're happy, good to go. But me, I just felt like, you know, if I was going to get a 250, I would just grow out of it too fast. I would grow out of it too fast and I'd get bored with it quick. And I didn't want to have to, you know, have to go through selling it and trying to find a bigger bike that I did want. So I'm definitely not saying that you shouldn't get a 250cc bike. I think that they're a great bike to start out on. But I also think that if, you know, for the first few months, if you are going to be a person that is capable of handling a more powerful motorcycle and not letting it get out of hand and not doing stupid things on it, then a 650cc bike is going to be a good bike to start out on. And of course, I have a Gladius, 650cc Gladius Suzuki. I can't even talk properly this morning. But, you know, something like an SV650 would highly recommend, which of course is pretty much the same bike that I have. An SV650 or a Ninja 650. And any of those, you know, or one of the, I guess those ER6s that are like the naked 650, or even like a Cruiser 650. is going to be a good bike to start out. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions about this topic, or if I was unclear on anything that I just said in my early morning ramble, feel free to, comment or send me a private message or whatever you want to do. So yeah, watch out next week for the next video. So for now, I am out. Peace.